All right, hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of Third Line Day videos. And today I have with me here the lovely Kat Smith, who's living in Portugal. And I really was inspired to invite Kat onto the Third Line Day videos that I do. It's been a while since I've done one, and Kat really jumped out at me. And Kat's a 4/6 emotional manifestor. We'll bring up her chart in a second. And Kat's been a student of mine and recently just been diving into her professional human design path. And I've just really I was just telling her how much I've enjoyed seeing what the impact that she's putting out there, and it was impactful to me, and I felt like I wanted to support Kat and share, um, share her work that she's doing in the world, and so yeah, hey Kat, welcome.
Hey. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And what was cool, I'll just bring up your chart here for a second, is let's see, let's make sure we're looking at the same thing. Yeah. Is today is technically your half birthday, is that correct?
Or is, well, yeah, we're 2 days out, but yeah, my half birth week.
So
That's
in
true.
the I think in the Gregorian calendar, it's
Uh-huh.
your half birthday, but it's solar actually the transit is we're 2 days off. But
Yeah, we're in my week. I feel that.
so
That's
this
for
was
sure.
not that was not planned, but I just am once again blown away by the synchronicity and geometries that just unfold before us. And it's so here's
Hmm.
Kat's chart. Sorry, I'm not super technical here, but we can I also just wanted to share really quickly the daily transit. Let's see. Let me just bring that up.
Got it.
Is this here we go. Okay. And this is what the day looks like today. Yeah, so here's Kat's design sun earth reversed. So that's where that kind of jumped out at me. I was like, "Oh my gosh." So, yeah. I love that we're in the sixth gate. I'm a 59, so the six is, the harmonic line there for me, in an open solar plexus. So this is always a wavy time for me because I never know how that um, electromagnetic transit is gonna show up. So anyway,
Yeah. Oh,
so
well.
if you
That's
want me
awesome.
to bring up your chart or this at any point, let me know. But otherwise, we'll just come back to face to face here. Um,
Yeah. That's funny. I mean, I feel like just jumping in immediately, of course, manifest a life and saying that, like, that friction crisis. Today, here living in Portugal, there are bushfires everywhere. And we have a big living in a co-living community where I have a big blackboard in the kitchen where I've been writing the neutrino forecast or just the daily, whatever comes sort of like what's there and what is obvious in the house and like just as a little teaching moment. And today was a really good day for that. Today was like everyone's checking the app and being like, do we have to evacuate? And it's all a bit. And I was like, don't worry. Crisis is in the house, but it's also in my body. We're safe. I got you. It's just a very funny thing to witness. That the Yeah, I come to life when there's a crisis. We're completely safe right now, by the way. There's nothing to worry about. But like, yeah, if there's a crisis, everyone goes, oh, it's like cash. Or I'm the one being like, everybody, it's fine. It's very noticeable. And that is currently happening right now in this week on this day. Madness. Yeah, of course.
I love that. I feel like when you were studying with me, I really got that from you so much that you you can really teach it. That's part of your gift. I mean, being your personality son and the 36 is to teach us about crisis and just like the way you were just explaining it, and that it doesn't have to be chaos. It can be
Mm.
it's I don't know, you embody it like you said. So
Mm.
keep tell us more. Tell us more about crisis and the beauty of crisis.
Ooh, ooh, the beauty of it. Oh, you're hitting it there. Well, I don't know. I mean, what to say? I guess what happens in my body when there's a crisis is peace. So that's sort of a weird contradiction for most people. But yeah, I mean, it's the depths of life experience is kind of what it feels like to me. Like for me, it feels like real and raw and like, it's life, it's death, it's all the same thing. And yeah, I'm so happy you said the beauty of crisis because it really is. It really is like the deepest, darkest void before then the spiral continues. And it's a place of creation, you know? Like, of course, it's like deathly and terrifying and like all of the things that, come up in the human experience around it. But it's the void, and the only thing to do when there's the void is create something in it. And so, yeah, I mean, I have all these sort of metaphors in my life where I have this mood that comes in and just wants to sweep everything off the table, or like, like a storm that just rolls in that everything must go. But as it goes, I mean, we're wiping a slate clean. And then what happens on a clean slate? Like anything. And so, yeah, I mean, I've obviously had to learn. My life lesson has been to really embody it and to be in the eye of the storm because the storm is always raging in my world. The fires are always coming at my door, literally today. Just so funny. But yeah, there's something that is beautiful about that. It's um, it's a really big part of life that like most people want to avoid. You know that we're all taught really. We're taught to be fearful of. It doesn't feel like that's accurate actually. That doesn't actually feel like, yeah, it doesn't feel accurate that we're supposed to fear death. It's just the cycle, the part of the cycle that is really important.
hmm You know,
Yeah.
right, I brought up your chart right when you said that, because I really wanted to see kind of what your nodes were. And to me,
Mm. Oh
cycles
yeah.
right there, the trial and error cycles that you're built to be part of,
Mm.
to see where do we need to show up in the cycles and the bigger, broader, mystical nature of the cycles, that we go through.
Yeah, and I am within the year of my Uranus opposition as well. So and it's a slippery slope all the way to my Uranus opposition into that 33. And gosh, I can feel that. I cannot, I have many, many stories of remembrance, of course, to share about, yeah, just how I get the notable change of me coming even, yeah, closer into that 33.
hmm
And I guess, yeah, I mean, I'm noticing it right now in a kind of inception way, like even me speaking into this, sharing it, not just being in the crisis that has been my life, but like now it's time to retreat and reflect and share about what I remember of all the crises that have brought me to this place. It's all there, isn't it? How funny.
Let's
Mm.
see. You mentioned you're in your Uranus opposition. I actually have your chart. So
Mhm.
you're less than a year.
I just went past it was July 8th. I was I'm about 10 months maybe ish before the Uranus. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, you're in the building phase.
I'm
Yeah.
getting sucked into it is what it feels like. Yeah. The building phase. Would you like to say more?
I mean, the way that I understand it and the way that I experienced it is usually these things kind of have a build, you know. So your transit date is July 8th, 2025. So about
Mhm.
2 years before that, there starts to be this, it's a transit, it's a passage where it sort of feels like it's peaking, um, and
Mhm.
and then it kind of plateaus for about 2 years, and then it kind of starts to stabilize. I mean,
Mhm.
mine was in 2020 or something like that. It took a few years to feel like I kind of got through it. I mean, my Uranus opposition was in the cross of planning. And I had my second kid. My business started really blowing up, just very, very cross of planning themes, just in
Mhm.
my face, you know? And it
Wow.
was very supportive. So it's almost like the frequency gets louder and louder and louder.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's probably this. I mean, you're changing your nodal theme around that time. So, really, even though it still operates as a quantum, this 1933 for you, it's the
Mhm.
these themes of that you've been in the first half of your life of the 19 of, needing the pressure to be wanted and needed and, you know,
Mhm.
and bond and play the right role in relationships and um,
Mhm.
that's
That
kind of
is
coming to
this is
a closure in a way. Go ahead.
total. No, it's just I'm laughing. I mean, I don't know how many times I can say things like you can't make it up. Like we just can't make it up. It's so obvious to me. I mean, my I had children young, and so my parenting is what it never ends, does it? It doesn't end it. But my youngest left home 2 years ago as I came up into this not being needed theme. That's an obvious one. But yeah, I mean, in so many ways that as you share that theme of the 19 and that yeah, it kind of feels like it's disintegrating from my life completely. Then the themes of needed and wanted, yeah, I'm just really not resonating with them anymore. And I for sure was. Yeah, yeah, you can't make it up. It's right there.
Mhm.
Crazy, but not.
Yeah, I was telling you before we started that one of the things I've been really fascinated about lately is in my experiment has been studying the polarities, so um whoops, what am I drawing here? Um and so yeah, this 1933 polarity, it's always going to be, it's not like this can fully disappear from your life, it's but the where you're moving more and this is kind of building. So, but as a um, an archetypal polarity.
Mhm.
It's something interesting to look at. Why is the 19 and the 33 across from each other in the wheel? What do they, you know, how do they inform each other? How are they polar opposites of each other? So,
Mhm.
hearing you talk about it, it's like this is where everything begins in the root, This is being a young mother and raising two kids, and you have two boys, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Um, and then but the 33 is like part of the abstract circuit, looking back at the bigger picture, and it feels like after we've provided the tribal resources and played our role here, then you enter more into a leadership role of what was it all about? What was it for?
Mhm.
You know, the 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 greater mysteries of motherhood and um over what can you teach this is also a leadership channel, and um how can you impact others, and how can that come alive in the crisis, where it's almost like teaching people. I didn't know we were going to be like breaking down your chart here.
Go.
No, but it's fun to learn about. And like you're saying, I thought of this in the first place to look at this because you were saying like you come alive in the crisis, you
Yeah.
know? And so,
Mhm.
but where do you come alive?
Mm,
And where can you teach people about,
mm,
nurturing, and you have a very nurturing quality to you
mhm.
for that. I think that, so yeah, I don't know. I'm not really completing any sentences here. But it's like the 33 has this, it's a memory gate. So it's like it don't doesn't remember just your life, it remembers the bigger picture. That's kind of where I was trying to go. Like it's that's why it's kind of a mystical gate as well, because it has this like built-in ancient memory of,
Mhm.
you know, not
Yeah.
just you as a mother, but motherhood,
Yeah.
and that's kind of where I was trying to get is, yeah. So when people go through crisis, where do you show up and go, "It's okay, honey. Um,
Wow.
don't you even worry about
That's
it."
that totally resonates. I mean, this is probably going to sound like absolutely wacky to most people, but that really resonated with me. I want to share like people do always, of course, show up in my life in crisis. That's how that works. And what just came through when you were sharing that is like, yeah, and then I, in one way or another, um, teach them. Yeah, that's the right word. Teach them about, well, the spiral of life, you know, duality and life just lifing on itself. This is one of the things I say so many times all the time. Anyone watching this who knows me is going to be laughing right now. Yeah, life just lives on itself. Here we are in another moment, you know. It's interesting that that's a deeper reflection for me on the 33. Like, okay, where are we on the spiral of life? Well, we have to be somewhere, you know. Right now we're in crisis, but just right over there is birth, is rebirth. Everything's, oh yeah, we're all, yeah, wow. I this Yeah, it's super obvious to me. Like,
Yeah, and
wow.
how your definition comes through. What comes out of you in the moment, and you can't plan it. It just comes out of you in the moment with this 1222.
Mm-hmm.
Your
Mm-hmm.
creative, impactful expression.
Singing songs about spirals. That's that's what I spend a lot of my time doing, Peter. Of course.
It's right
Yeah.
there in your design. You are here to sing songs about spirals.
Done. How
I
perfect.
think I've got one or two of those myself.
I bet you do. Oh, it's amazing.
Or fractals. I mean, there's fractals.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, that's cool.
Thank you,
Um,
Jen. That's beautiful. Mm.
so you do live in community. You're living in are you still in a human design centered community right now, or you're in different?
Apparently not. No, I entered the human design initiation, which was my own human design, I guess, kind of pop up community, might be a good way to say it. Experimental co living with a human design theme that ended about 3 months ago. And I am now living in a community that does not know about human design. Well, that's not true because I've been here 2 months, so they all know now, but they didn't. And so now I'm like playing the role of like, I don't know, it's been really fun to be honest, because I spent 7 months in this leadership position, right? Which, you know, I've joked about it many times. Like, why did my strategy and authority lead me to initiating living in a house full of people as a manifester? That feels on some level a bit wrong. But I am a 4/6, and all of my fourth lines come out of my solar plex. And so anyway, my point is I was exhausted though, fatigued, you might say, at the end of that experiment. And now I'm living in this house where I get to, um, yeah, I'm experimenting more with like being less intentional about sharing human design. Like being, that was obviously like, all right, here, I'm the teacher. We ran retreats to teach the RYD. We're consistently in the learning process kind of formally. Um, Now it's like, like I mean, as I said, like I've got a chalkboard in the kitchen. We're not officially learning human design, but Kat's around, so what to do? Yeah, it's kind of amazing. It's kind of flipped it. So I ended up here just for this funny little piece of information on July 8th. So that exact 12 month from my opposition, I kind of got kicked out of Eden, to be fair. I had a crisis and I ended up in this place. And yeah, I can't make it up. So yeah, I'm here now. And yeah, a lot of things have changed actually. You might have to direct me if I could go in any direction. But a lot of things have changed. I'm still very much in the game, but like it's very new.
Okay. Well, let's see if we can uncover some of that. But I think, but broader picture, um,
Uh-huh.
I think that's really cool that you've had this, like you said, you flipped the experience to being, this is all about human design, intentional community, intentional experiment, you know, probably even getting almost a little mental, like how much we're like putting everything into the human design box to to let's just live and see, with people who don't necessarily, that's not their go-to way of always framing everything. And,
Mhm.
how is that? I mean, I personally find those two different experiences very valuable and an important juxtaposition to experience because you really can't just have, I mean, I guess you could have one or the other, but it's helpful to have both because they inform the other. So you almost have to go out in the world and just experience your own design without overthinking it or knowing that everyone else is going to be kind of hyper aware of, oh, that wasn't
Mhm.
correct or whatever, and
Mhm.
so it must be kind of relaxing in a way just to be.
Yeah, yeah, really. That was actually one of the biggest takeaways from the experience that we did, is that um, yeah, I mean it's a tricky one, right? And I'm still unpacking it. There's some integration going on for sure, but all these fourth lines in my chart and all of this initiation, desire, and it was the perfect thing to do. And then at the end of it, or like the takeaway kind of feels like, like, yeah, people don't need to know, nobody needs to know human design around me. I do. I feel like it's changed everything in my world. It's brought me much peace. But but part of the experience in what I created in this co-living experiment was that we are going to get to be in a space where we all know it, and this is going to be helpful. This is going to be amazing. Everyone's going to be able to treat each other correctly. Are you kidding me? That's the dream. Like that's like where I was coming from. And I mean, along with many, many other lessons, what's just here for me right now is that it's obvious to me that no one has to operate correctly except me.
Mhm.
And that was a really big lesson. Yeah, really big. If I'm operating correctly, that's it. That's the end of the story. And yeah, and I love how you say we can get a bit mental about human design. That sounds. I also bumped into that whilst we were. Yeah, I mean, it feels to me at this point, this is kind of what I'm playing with right now, is that if everyone knows design, is everyone's in their own experiment and doing the best they can in every moment and that, then it does seem like a beautiful thing that we're all doing that together. And yeah, and that it's not necessary. Yeah, big lesson. Really cool.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. How's that land for you?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's. I'm sure a lot of people dream about living in a human design kind of community as some sort of ideal. And
Hmm.
I'm personally not convinced that
Yeah,
that would be the ideal. Um,
yeah,
because yeah, I mean, you kind of said it. As long as I'm living correctly and I'm aware that I'm in integrity with myself and being authentic, it's nice to have the vibration or it's nice to be able to speak the same language as people. But
totally.
humans are humans, and so you're still gonna meet things. So it's just a collective kind of like up leveling that's just happening, here and there.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's still very valuable to me to have people in my life that I can speak human design with. I mean, that's a different thing. It would feel very isolating to me if it was like I know all this stuff and no one, like there have been moments where I've been in groups where I'm like, oh my God, am I the only one who sees this? Am I the only one who sees this? There's something clearly, neutrino ocean or aura and something going on. And I love being able to like look across the room and be like I'm not the only one who gets this. That's so beautiful to me. But like I was under the experiment was, is it necessary? That was part of what we were experimenting with. Can we even possibly all be on the same page? And it wasn't really, community is the wrong word, because I was aware that the better word is commune, really. Like we're communing. We are being individuals and seeing if we can not bump into each other in the space and just, or do it in just the right way. And yeah, I mean, not for the most part, we could. And it was really amazing also to, things come up when we all live together, right? Like there were who didn't do the fucking dishes. It's like how often, standard living stuff. You're okay with swearing. And we got to unpack it, we got to unpack it from a human design perspective. Like, all right, what really went on there? Who bumped into who? Who's supposed to bump into people? Who gets hurt when that is supposed to happen? Like we did, there was so much learning, but ultimately it's like, right now I'm in the space of like, yeah, like I'm just pacing out up on the roof now. Like unnecessary. Fun, unnecessary.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, human design's a framework, and so you need to apply it to something. It's like I like to tell people you could inherit the. It's like everyone moved into the hardware store. Well, great. We all live in the hardware store now. We're all going to talk about, aisle nine and, whatever all we have access to. But if you don't go out and build something with it, then you're all just having fun in the hardware store talking about the hardware that you have access to. Yeah.
Totally. That's such a beautiful metaphor. I love that.
So
Yeah.
that's where, if everyone's, going and doing the dishes and doing chopping wood, carry water, all
Hmm.
the things, then you have a framework to apply that. But if it's just you're just talking about what you have on aisle nine and what you have on aisle 27, then it just becomes what's the point?
Yeah, and that's actually cool that you said that because there was so much value. I mean, yeah, so I have to just come back to this because there was a lot, and I've been in recovery, to be fair, but so much value in the lived experience of it. Like, that is true. Like, wow, like, how did like what all of the why hows unpackings of the mechanics of everything that happened in every day. I mean, God, my brain was exploding. And there was so many lessons that have led to ultimately we don't have to do any of that. And I also wonder if this is somewhere, I don't know, this is something has been popping into my awareness about. I mean, I'm coming pretty close to 5 years in now. Like, I wonder if this is also a phase, and I haven't done enough study in the phases of the first 7 years. But I remember 3.5 being a kind of a theme, and I wonder if this is a theme of like coming up into 5 years as well, where it's kind of like, oh, now I'm just letting it all go. Like I'm living it. I just have loosened around, yeah, all of it, really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of I mean, I'd call it a phenomena that sort of happens where you I think Ra even used the word, it's like a translation, effect or phenomena where it goes from studying it, learning it, knowing it. It's a mental, it's
Hmm.
a mental path it's
Hmm.
a path through the mind to transcend the mind. So eventually, everything in human design is generic. Just
Hmm.
because you have the 1222 doesn't mean it's going to be the same 1222 as, the other person down the road. It's a totally different definition based on all this minor all the specifics. So once
Mm.
you start just to experience and live it and see it for yourself and see, oh, I thought it was like this, but it's actually like this. Now that I
Hmm.
see it and experience, then it really starts to come alive. I think that just
Hmm.
happens more and more after a few years. And and
Right.
and then you can just enjoy, seeing what you see and trusting yourself, trusting your internal navigation system rather than always needing to refer to a manual.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's funny. It feels to me like from where I'm sitting now, the biggest gift of human design in my life and also what I do see in others is this relief and understanding. This like, oh, I'm like this and that's okay. And then for me, it feels like this has happened so many times now because of the study. I'm like this and I'm okay. And I'm like this and I'm still okay. And I'm like this and I'm okay. And I've gotten to the point where I'm just like, everything's just okay. Like, I'm not asking the question anymore. Am I okay? It's just, yeah. And so that's huge value. I mean, that's been 5 years of massive value of really understanding that I'm okay. And yeah, I feel like I'm not asking that question so much anymore. Sometimes, whatever, subject to change, but yeah. And this really, really like compounded the experience of that, like having this like yeah, really quite intensive, very intensive experience of unpacking every way that I move through my day and life and relating and friendshipping and leading and all the things. Like it showed me every way that I could possibly feel maybe like I'm not okay, and just showed me that actually it's okay. It's just mechanics. And now I'm just like, all right, game on then. Let's just move on. It's amazing. Yeah, it's crazy, but amazing.
So you mentioned at least once about your desire motivation. I've
Uh-huh.
heard that um, since manifestors have kind of a different, since your strategy is more something you have to think about to inform other people, that the motivation for a manifestor can actually be a really helpful. Maybe even you told me that. I don't even remember.
I might have it. That. Yeah, yeah. And it was raw. That did come straight from raw. Yeah. Mm,
So
amazing.
how are you with your like for instance with your work you were saying you've just been really passionate about delivering the knowledge and the way that you want to share it with people and
Mm.
it's coming alive for you through your desire. You can really feel it in your desire. Do you want to share anything about that?
Yeah, I mean, I could, like, or I know I could try. Oh God. Yeah, yeah. I guess like since integrating that, well, I mean, maybe the story starts with like being a manifest is such a trip, man. Like this whole like like strategy that is bullshit, basically, not to call it out. I mean, not to call it out because it's super helpful, but like,
I know what you mean.
yeah, for sure, it's mental. And that's why most all, I might even say, manifestors find that challenging, especially in the beginning. And then, yeah, I mean, I've obviously been at that quite radically for years. But also, I mean, I'm emotional. So like clarity And then like, oh, I'm clear, but am I informing? And did I inform? And do I inform that I'm clear, or do I inform before I'm clear? And like there's oh, it's twisted me up in so many ways over my experimental period. Yeah. And then I kind of got to this place of like kind of just more trust in it. Like it's not that like things are coming through me. It feels like, oh, this is coming through me. And it might not happen yet, but even though it's not happening yet, I'm just going to tell everyone. I just talk about it. I just make sure I'm always talking about what's coming through me. That's really a lot of people have left me because of that, but it feels really important. And so that's kind of where I was at for a long time. And then I kind of tried on, experimented with like it's correct when it comes through. I mean, it comes through with kind of a frequency, this desire in my voice. Imagine that.
Mhm.
It kind of turns on, and I have these moments where I feel like, whoa, like that is some empowered shit right there. Like, is that even me? I'm watching myself. Ah, like cool off. Like no one wants to hear it. Can sound a bit like Tony Robbins. Like I'm like, like it's this, and I know, and it's so full on, and like my mind thinks I'm just like a 3-year-old holding on to my mom's skirt tails. Like I am a manifester. I got very fucking squashed as a young person. I'm just a little girl, but this booming desire voice comes out, and it's like it's a lot. And when it happens, I feel peaceful. That's the thing to notice. Like while I'm doing it, I'm not even, oh, it's just happening. So outside of my trying. And then when I finish the sentence or something, I kind of go, ooh, like that's good. Like really in my body. And really, like, I absolutely would call it peace. And yeah, then I just started being like, if like that's the thing to follow. Like, let's just experiment with that. Because yeah, Ra did say that about manifestors. Informing and authority and all the things to manifestors feels just a bit convoluted. But if I guess I don't want to steer anyone wrong off their strategy and authority, but I got to a point where it was like, there must be a little more than this. And yeah, like I can tell when something's correct for me when it blows out of my mouth like that. And I go, okay, it looks like, hey, everyone, we're moving this way. And yeah, I've been doing that for a bit and it seems accurate. I am
It,
peaceful.
it feels accurate. I mean, that's what kind of called me to connect with you is I saw some of the other content you were putting out, and I was like, oh, this is a passionate manifester who's ready to, who's impacting just naturally, and but I could feel that desire motivation coming through. Just uh, yeah, I don't even know how to describe the quality of it, but I could feel. But just like you're saying, when you're just living your design, it heals you from the inside out. And
Mhm.
I will go to teach a class, I'll be in a terrible mood, and something happened with the kids or the family or my life or whatever is going on, chaos in the outside world. And I start talking about human design, and 2 hours later, I'm just you know
Yeah,
empowered and clear, and all that stuff doesn't matter anymore, and rise above it. So yeah.
awesome. Yeah, motivation has definitely been, I mean, I have been spotting my motivation for a while, but just not really committed to really leaning into it. And yeah, I guess I just kind of gave myself permission to be like, okay, like it's clearly that direction. So get out of your own way and just, you know, say the thing. Like the voice in my head, that little girl or mindy kind of voice with all of its bullshit stories says like everyone's like nobody's gonna like you and you're gonna scare everybody off and like you sound crazy, like they might lock you up. Like it really does its thing. And I don't know. I mean, I've kind of come to the point in my experiment where if my mind's saying things that are that mean, then it must be true. It must be trying to fight against something that's really true. And so yeah, I really appreciate you seeing that, because it's not a small thing, like I do not feel identified with this like desirous, raw kind of being. That just, it's still, as we share that that's my truth, there's a part of me just going, oh no, this is not good. Yeah, I'm supposed to be a little nice girl, like don't run in their house. Shh. Like that was my childhood. Be nice. Be nice. I got yelled at to be nice. Like that's a manifester's, that's a very classic manifestor trip, right? And so that still kind of goes, oh my God, I'm not being nice when I'm booming at someone. But yet, yeah, here we are. And it feels good. So what to do?
So, so yeah, what's juicy in your transition to your, are you living alone now, or did your projector partner come with you, or?
My projector partner is living not with me, but near me. We are correctly relating, which is a whole thing, as I'm sure you can imagine. But yeah,
Hmm.
we are still referring to each other as beloved, so that's a good start. But yeah, I mean, what is relationship has definitely been a big question through this whole experiment. Um, and yeah, what's on the horizon? Is that the question? Is that what you
Actually, it was what's juicy was actually the question.
juicy? What's juicy?
Uh,
What's juicy? Everything. It's me. It's juicy. Good question.
well,
Wow.
tell us more about that because I think we need to hear more about the correctness of
Ooh.
being beloveds, but not needing even to share the same house. I mean,
Not gonna skip over that. Come on. No, that's fine. It's fine. Yeah, I can share about that. But I'm gonna act embarrassed because I am. But that's okay. Let's see. Well, he and I really entered the experiment together. And so here we don't know each other without the experiment, which is kind of, I feel like, kind of from probably a unique position to be in. He had found out about human design about a month before he introduced me as a stranger at a retreat. And then, yeah, as I watched him experiment in that first month, it's funny, it's just kind of cool to like flash back to, because this was the first man relationship in my life where I went after it. I didn't know that about being a manifester, but I saw something in him, and I saw him radically take on this experiment. Like he literally just like gave his life away. Like he was one of those like, I'm just going to have to live. He may have ended up sleeping on the streets. I wasn't the first person to invite him, but that's how he's still that committed. It's madness in the homogenized world. So I saw him doing that, and I wanted to know what the hell he was on about. Like I really was pulled to invite him into my world to show me what he was doing. This is so crazy. I need to know. And yeah, he did that. I mean, he came and lived with me for about, I don't know, I always exaggerate this. It might not have been 3 months, but close, 26. And he just basically like did in aura experimentation, whatever adventures we were having out in the world. I walked first, he walked first. I drove through all the green lights, he got all the stop signs. Like I walked in front of a car, it stopped. He went, do you reckon I should walk in front of a car then? And it was just, he really like, he allowed me to really see the Maya. And then like COVID hit, and he is actually Norwegian. He'd gone back to Norway at that point, and we were separated for 22 months, which was mad. And we studied, we got to both sleep out of aura, and we studied. And it just set us up for having this really correct relationship. This was the only option. And like, I guess like there's a million stories in there, but what to just skip it to where it is now, we live our strategy and authority. You know, when we came to doing this, I say, I should probably revise that, when I had the pulse, the initiation to do this project where we were going to have this house full of people and like see what the fuck happened, like a true mutative manifester. It wasn't a given that he would come. He did come in the end, but it was like, this is my project. And is it correct for me to invite him? And is it, he's going to sleep on that invitation? It's not a given that he's going to, I wanted him to come and support. He has the channel of community, and it felt really like, yeah, I wanted him there. It doesn't mean he's going to show up. He's an emotional projector that needs to be very cautious about how he makes his decisions. And so, yeah, I mean, that's still where we're at. When we finished the project, he had an invitation elsewhere, and I needed to do whatever the fuck I needed to do in every moment, throughout since we've been since COVID finished and I got to fly again. I went to see him in Norway, but we've always, because we know we just know how auras work. It's really so simple. Usually within our being in aura relating, we say we're going to get to 3 months. It's quite funny. It's a joke between us now. We say, oh yeah, we'll just do 3 months. It's going to be so good. And then I get to like 2 weeks before the 3 months and I start going, I gotta go. And I have to go travel, or I have to go be with a friend, or I have to, whatever the fuck I have to do. And we both really appreciate that. That feels correct for him too. He for sure doesn't want to be around an angry emotional manifester, but also, he's got a lot of like aloneness stuff going on his chart. So we kind of just do this, but it's not without commitment or monogamy or like all those things people call, homogenized relating, or would assume that's what it is. We still talk every day. There's no actual break in our relationship. It's just about being in and out of aura in the right timing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think
that.
that's a wonderful, role model uh, example to give, because it's we don't have a lot of context for that. We don't have a lot of good examples for that.
Mm,
And people tend to think, if you're not living under the same roof or sleeping in the same bed anymore, then it's a problem with a relationship. It's the
no.
beginning of the end, whatever the story is. But it
Yeah.
sounds like it's just expanding even greater to bring out the best version, the most authentic version of yourself, and as a partnership as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I also just feel like flipping it slightly and making sure that I'm not making it sound like all sunshine and rainbows because it's a relationship and that's where we do our best work, right? Really find ourselves when we bump up against each other. Um, so yeah, like it's not perfect, but for sure, I mean, what is perfect? I don't, part of me just goes, why would you even say that? What does it even mean? But yeah, it's interesting also how you say, we would, if that's how it was, that's the beginning of the end. Like, I've forgotten that that's even a thing, honestly. It kind of makes me laugh. And I'm sure people look at us, and we've had a lot of new people in our life recently. You're just making me reflect on, like, yeah, they must just think we're absolutely weird. And that's okay with me. Yeah, it feels really good. I mean, for me as a pure individual, emotional manifester, if I don't have the freedom just to like roll with whatever comes through, like if I'm going to have a partner there that goes, oh, we have to compromise and negotiate. I mean, I'm not going to have a relationship. That's the thing. And he knows that. And then there is an equal and opposite flip side of that, where like he needs time to integrate that he's been with me for nearly 3 months and other things. Like, yeah, it's great. It's just correct. There's no other option. It's just correctness.
Well, congratulations on navigating that, however it flows, because we're still trying to navigate these new paradigms in a seven-centered world, surrounded by all this stuff, which is, you know, even just the structures that we deal with, like you,
Yeah.
you know, it's not like there's a recipe for this, It's not like we can tell people, well, move in together, live for 6 months, and then see, maybe try this. There's no one right way. Everyone has to find their own right way with how we want to bond.
What's just there for me is you share that. I think something that's really, choicelessly, obviously helped us be in this situation is that, I don't know, I'm not sure if this is true or not. I mean, we're both not sacral. We're both open sacral, and so we're both not really about ourselves in different ways, but there's something that we really relate to on that level. And we're very, I guess what kind of flashed in as you said that is like he's all about making sure I'm correct because that serves him and everyone. That's just his natural way. And I'm all about mutating him. And so you can kind of see how, like, it's not that we've been trying so hard with our minds to be together, it's that we're actually helping each other be correct just choicelessly. Like sometimes I mutate him too hard, and sometimes he's a pokey little fucker. And like it's not perfect, but we're not just, yeah, we push each other. We need each other to be all the way correct. And so, yeah, I mean, but each of us owe our correctness, and a large part of our correctness and our radical experimentation to the other being there egging them on. Like, oh, you could sleep on the streets. Yeah, you could. Go on. Like, how far are you going to go? And we're in that together, and that has been a real gift. That is, yeah, wild.
This is kind of maybe an edgy question, but are two non-sacrals in a relationship, it's a genuine question though. What's the what's the sexuality like when you have two non-sacral beings? I mean, I'm a 59 sun manifesting generator, whatever, you know,
Mm-hmm.
definition.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah, is there something you can share about that as a theme? I'm kind of just really curious um, what's
Yeah.
because I mean, I've had partners who were non-sacral, and it's they just have a very different relationship to it. With a generator who has a fixed the sacral relates to your reproductive organs. So you have a fixed relationship to your sexuality. So what's it like
Mm-hmm.
when you're both open?
Yeah. I mean, initially what comes through was like, I feel like I have the same question. Like, I have no context for what it's like to not be open. So let's see if I can define it. It's really, I'm like, ooh, fixed, fixed sacral, fixed way of in being in sexuality. Yeah, okay. I don't know that. I don't know that, but I can tell you, I guess, I mean, we nap a lot. That's that's one thing that's just obvious. Someone was just asking the other day about, hang on a minute, projectors need to nap a lot. Like, what do you guys do? And I'm like, I need to nap a lot, heaps. Like I only have one channel. He actually has more motors than I do. Like we kind of who needs to nap more is a bit of a competition between us. But like, yeah, I'll try not to avoid the question now. You're making me very uncomfortable. Let's see. Not really. Well, we both have massive emotionality, right? We don't even hook each other's sacral up as well. That's worth noting. But we both have massive emotionality. And so, I mean, I guess the joke is kind of like we're all about beforehand. We're all about the like lead up. And then it's not about the act. Which is sort of funny. It's not that the act doesn't happen, but
What do you
like, I
what
mean,
do
I'm about romance and poetry, and like, I mean, that's where there's so much juice. And then he has the 4130, and he has the 3740 as well. So between us, we have all the different everythings. So we're like desire and need and passion, and like, yeah, it's like a romance novel. It's just amazing. But like, actual sex, we're not going to be doing that all night. Like once we get to the act, it's like that'll do. That's like different, isn't it? That's wild.
No, I mean, again, I think it's really good for people to hear about this because I think that's
You're encouraging me.
I can, I can feel what you're saying. That just the fantasy and it's the build
Mhm.
that's really lovemaking is the the sensitivity to the life force and and um and both being emotional and really riding that. I think you're painting a beautiful picture that can really be inspiring for people to know that it's not again, it's not about, the act, but it's about everything that goes that's around it, which we can
Mhm.
nurture as nine-centered beings in a new way.
You're giving me such an insight because we all just think that everything we are is normal on some level, right? Like, isn't that how everyone sees it? Thanks for asking the question. I mean, I'm mildly embarrassed, obviously, but like, yeah, yeah. I mean, we have all of I mean, what did I say? The solar plex is the juice of life. It's the juice. Like, and so, yeah, for sure, we are always somewhere wildly on a wave. And it's always got a flavor of one of those streams. And I mean, it just makes for a really rich tapestry, I would say. And I still have the 636. Like, we do actually have sex. It happens.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's a very emotional and like long and drawn out, time is what emotionality needs, right? So yeah, it is. It's something different, I'm sure. It's just I got nothing to compare it to, obviously. I mean, within myself. But yeah, cool to reflect on. Thanks.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I mean, there's lots of relationships out there where there's probably two open sacrals together. So, just nice to
To
hear.
solar plex, do you mean that? You mean others like us? Sorry.
I think there's probably
Oh,
other relationships out there, or there's also, we also live in a world we live in a generator world, which is all about, you know, all the homogenized sexuality that comes around that. We need some
mm,
new paradigms, nine-centered paradigms of lovemaking and bonding in
yeah,
that as well.
yeah, real. Wow. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I I didn't realize I was being such a role model in my sexuality, but I'll take it. That's amazing. Thank you.
Well,
Wild.
I got one or two more questions for you. I know we've already been going for quite a while here, but um,
Not my sacral's still here for it.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, we've also kind of shared this passion and interest in the work with plant medicine.
Mm,
Um, and I personally think they're an amazing crossover and really inform each other really help embody they help each other they help us to embody our authentic nature because the human
mhm,
design gives us the framework and the validation and knows us the what to experiment with, and the plant medicine work really helps, you know ground it. You can't hide from it, you can't deny it, what it shows you. So um curious if you feel like sharing anything about what your work with plant medicine and how that's maybe crossed over with your human design path, and is it
mhm,
still something that's really alive for you? Is it something you encourage, or do you
mhm.
see your work with that continuing and maybe working with people together like that with those two
Yeah.
pillars?
hmm Yeah, that is a very big question. I'm going to take a minute.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for the question. Let's see what happens. Um, I mean, for sure. I mean, plant medicine. Yes. Plant medicine, yes. That's a good place to start. Um, I I really don't know if I would be this peaceful or have nearly the amount of an experiential journey I've had without my own experience of plant medicine. I don't know, that kind of brings me back to the 636. Like there's something like I have needed to die 1,000 deaths. You know? It's not for everyone. I guess that's something I would say as well. It's not. It's not for everyone at every time. And one of the very first things that became obvious to me when I came into the experiment was that human design could start. I really saw this. Human design could be the thing that makes sure I navigate my way into liminal spaces correctly, which felt really important.
Hmm.
And still does. You know, like the amount of times my mind wants to be with the medicine, but my body's not for it in that moment. I mean, I have a 6 line body now, right? Like it feels like I've got this new kind of, well, yeah, I'm healing, and I'm not here to push myself. My body is not here to be pushed like it has been. So being able to navigate plant medicine correctly, just the entering into the space of medicine correctly, I mean, that's something. That's really something. I mean, especially when, plant medicine has become more popular and like more widely available. And, I don't know, I see people not being in full reverence of it. To be able to navigate those experiences with full autonomy and correctness, to just get in. Yeah, I feel very passionate about that.
I think what's interesting for me is, and part of this crossover is, a lot of plant medicine traditions have, very ancient practices and traditions and songs and in history, woven into it. And then we come into human design and we find out, well, what's your way? What's how do you make this life your own and everything you do yours
Mm-hmm.
through your own authority? Um, and so, I've you come up against a lot of, well, I don't know what you could call it, lots of things, homogenized or seven-centered, whatever, like, oh, this is the right way to do plant medicine, or this is the right, you have to do it, whatever. Maybe
Yeah.
some old
Yeah.
stuff. So what's been your process of making it your own?
Oh, yeah, good one. I mean, that makes me feel like one of my very first. So there was that. That was a really first kind of awakening I had, making sure I'm actually sitting in the right ceremonies for myself. And then when I was sitting in those ceremonies, really having the new knowledge of my individuality and realizing that all the ceremonies I was sitting in at that time were very tribal, were groups I wasn't leading. Like there was all sorts of yes, things that didn't feel good in a very subtle way that I hadn't been aware of yet. Um, what currently feels correct for me is to be one-on-one with people. Now, that's always subject to change because mutation, right? I'm just going to do whatever comes through. But what's obvious to me is one on one and then human design with integration to ground into the body again. Um, I don't know, even that. Hmm. Yeah, one on one. I mean, I have been holding space for the last 2 years with medicine, just one on one. And it makes sense for me as a facilitator because I'm so open when and also that I'm so I mean, I'm non-sacral, you know. I can't hold 20 people. I'm not here for it. That's I'm not actually going to be I'm not going to be able to be in my magic if I'm doing that. So yeah, it's a much more intimate space, really, when you're one on one and you're sitting with me. And really, what I can tell that I mean, it's my voice that really is the magic and the cellular transformation that happens in those spaces. Um, yeah, which is totally unique to me and absolutely not traditional. But then also, yeah, every tradition has its songline, and so do I.
Has its what?
As it's like songline. So it's something that you would say. Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah, songline. It has all of the traditions are yeah, there is a song. There is a song. They learn through song, and and so yeah, that's my ceremony is very much about me and mutation through my voice. How can it not be? Yeah, is that what you're getting at? Is that what you mean?
I'm not getting anywhere. I'm just
Okay,
listening.
cool. You're making me analyze. I mean, I'm doing just what comes through me, right? So, and it's like, uh-huh, yeah, that makes sense in the human design context.
So
Yeah.
it's taught you a lot about your own 1222 channel and the power of the mutation, how it comes out of nowhere and how impactful it is when you just let that
Mhm.
pulse be, and when it all hopefully aligns with all the other elements, it just really can mutate. You know, you're a individuality is mutative, manifestors are mutative, sixth line is mutative.
Yeah.
What
Yeah. And I'm here to bring the crisis as well, or to bring, to hold, to take people to the depths. And yeah, it's all there. It's absolutely all there. And timing is everything. So you won't see me like saying I'm going to do it on a certain day all over social media, as an example. That's not my jam. It's just like there is a pulse. There's actually a pulse of all life that my design is tuned into. And so when that pulse hits, and then, yeah, I mean, it's all just kind of mystical, honestly. You're going to start making me sound like a real tripper. But it is a beautiful thing. It's
I
it's
mean, this
it's
is
life.
nine. This is nine-centered life. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's very. If we can create ways to support that. I mean, like you're saying, if we're having this ceremony at this one time, and who knows if your pulse is going to be on or not.
No, I might not be in the mood. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I mean, this is something I have been and still navigate always. Like, how do I bring my magic into this material plane when it doesn't actually belong there? When it's like can't fit into, it's like the eye of the needle thing, or like, yeah, I mean, this has been actually a part of my experience even before human design was like, hang on, I'm I mean I'm magic. I'm just going to use that's one word for it. There is a magic here. There is this channel that like dances between worlds and like brings this frequency that just shatters illusion. And like it only happens whenever it wants. And I can't put it in a box and I don't know when that's going to be and I can't create it. So like how does that work? that's that's a real thing to navigate. I'm still learning. Yeah.
Or maybe just surrender. Maybe surrender and sometimes navigate it is feels almost like we're trying to control it, but
Uh-huh. Yeah,
surrender.
I mean that's the mind kind of being like, hang on, how do I make this an offering? Or do I hold a ceremony on the equinox? Like that seems like a good idea. But like that might not be where the pulse is, you know? It's yeah, it is surrender.
Well, I
Good
think
one.
I think when you were talking earlier, just the word magic, I was just in my head, and then you just said it.
Yeah.
So yeah, mutation is magic, mutation really is magic, and so I think it's good to, yeah, I want to put those words together because
Beautiful.
mutation feels a little scary and
Mhm.
and a little, on the edge of the unknown. We don't know what's coming. We're afraid of the unknown, but it's
Mhm.
magic is brewing, and it's brewing in its own time, and it's not we can't
Yeah.
control how it's going to come alive and when.
Yeah. Yeah, which is why it's magic, That is the magic of it as well. If it didn't have that, it would lose part of the like the fabric of its magic. As you say, we don't know when, it's like we don't know what this is part of it. It's yeah, I mean it's a beautiful thing. And trying to put it in a, before human design actually, wow, I'm having a real moment here. Hang on. I cannot tell you how many times in my life and right up until human design found me that people were fine seeing my magic and trying to put it in a box. It kind of felt like kind of feels like the Tinkerbell story, where like as soon as you put me in a box, as soon as you cage me and go, wow, you're so amazing, look at you, my magic dissipates. Just part of the magic is that I can fly. Like it really that has been happening to me my whole life. And now that I know human design, I can navigate. There's that word again. I mean, I see it. I can see how people want to do it, and it's partially gets connected with the hijacking of the manifestor aura as well. You know how that can happen. Like, okay, yeah, let's invite Kat because she'll whatever. It's a frequency. The manifestor hijack, I call it. So there's magic and there's manifestation, and then yeah, I mean, when it gets really seen and recognized, the mind, the collective mind wants to make it be something, wants to make it do something that kills it.
I call
Did
it
that?
I call it the circus act. People want me to do a circus act or something. And
Yeah.
it's like seeing an old wild tiger, at the circus is just ragged from being forced to, be this majestic creature that it's just
Yes, being
yeah.
forced to be a majestic creature, take away the majestic right there. Wow, it's cool to really be seen in that. Yeah, I have a beautiful friend that says, "Are you a showman or a shaman?" Just like it just speaks so deeply to me because it's just exactly this conversation. I can recreate, step one, open a space, step two, blah blah blah, like whatever I can. I'm not an idiot. I can hold that. Are you going to get the truth of me? Are you going to get mutation? Is the magic actually going to find find its way into that circle? That's no. I'll tell you right now. In my experiment, that's not how it works. That's the essence of mutation, is that it lives on its own pulse. Try and live with that in the seven-centered world. It's quite something to be with. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, but I wouldn't be without it. So beautiful.
Wonderful. Well, let me ask you two more short questions and then we'll kind of wrap things up. Um,
Got it.
one more random question. Are you more a ranch or blue cheese person?
Oh yeah, I loved this question. I don't live in America. That's my answer.
Okay,
That's
you're
such an
you're
American
of course. Are
question.
you more vinaigrette or I don't know.
I'm like
don't have blue
a
you don't have blue cheese and you live next to France. It's the home of blue
yeah,
cheese.
there's blue cheese, but not dressing. That's a very that's a very American thing to make everything into a dressing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, let me ask you
but
my other random. Well, do you have an answer to this?
well, I mean, what do I have an answer to it? I am really a very, very simple flavor girl. I'm a tone six. I don't need flavor. I got all sorts of flavor that's not that.
Well, my other random question was, are you a washcloth person or do you just use a part of your towel?
Ooh, wow. I am a washcloth
I kind of have a
person.
washcloth conspiracy.
Have you? Oh my God, what's the right answer? You're freaking me out.
There is no one right answer. I just think some people are washcloth people, some people just use part of their towel because,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I am usually a washcloth person. That's my preference.
okay,
You
it's
put
good
me
to
in that category.
know
Yeah.
the
Who's
face.
which one's winning in your life? Most people?
Uh, I'm just more more observing. It's, the
Uh,
face of the washcloth user versus the I'm an MG, so it's all about efficiency. So why would I use an extra towel?
Yeah, right. I see that. Yeah. I have other things where I'm all about efficiency, like really not giving a fuck about, but that's not one of them.
Okay,
So
good to know.
good question.
Getting clear on these things. So my last question is, um,
So,
how do you, is there anything you'd like us to know about how people can work with you, how you can share your impact? Is there anything you'd like to know about the work you're doing? You've recently become a certified human design professional. Um, is there,
mhm.
yeah, what would you like people to know about how to reach you? And if you don't know right now, we can put it in add it to this afterwards. But yeah,
I
anything
can,
people are resonating with you and your work, then maybe how can they get in touch with you?
yeah. I mean, my favorite thing in the world is just when people get in touch with me. They can find me most social media platforms where I go by Lady Cat the Magnificent, just so you know. Of course, because we're all magnificent, just so you know. Um,
So people shouldn't
and
be afraid to initiate reaching out to you, because some people
that's right.
this kind of
Ooh,
I
good
think
one.
mistaken thought that you can't initiate a manifester, which is different than informing a manifester that maybe you'd like to work together.
And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Just don't like initiating is like tell me what to do. You know what I love the most? I love it when people say, "Wow, you really impacted me. That was such a cool comment or reel or whatever." I don't know what I'm doing right now. What that good one. Honor my impact. Love that. Love, love, love that. And yeah, then you might just get anything you need out of me. But yeah, informing, I would like to, this is what's going, this is what's going on for you. Tell me what's going on for you. Yeah, maybe I can mutate it. And yeah, I do have offerings. I mean, two things. One, I do have um, well, my version of the LYD, which you might love this, it's still the LYD. It's Living Your Design, the Mechanics of the Miracle,
Mm.
is actually an online class now, just very recently. And so for our generator and projector friends, that seems like a very good option to introduce themselves to me and all the way into human design. And then for manifestors, I feel much more like, yeah, like one on one, or like I've worked with some manifestors where it's just like, let's just voice note each other for a year until I know you have everything. Like I can be really, I mean, obviously, manifestors are a thing. Like, what are we looking at now?
Just bringing up your chart again, just so people can, take a look at your body graph and see if there's something that jumps out for
Nice.
them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm teaching Living Your Design, the mechanics of the miracle. And I'm also just being me in a whole bunch of ways. So yeah, really, if you resonate, you said it best. If you're resonating with something I said, something feels
Be
interesting,
afraid. Don't be afraid. She won't bite your head off.
it won't bite your head off. I might not respond immediately. That's also true. Peter knows that. But you're in my awareness and I will be back with you when the timing is right.
Mm. That's
Yeah.
human design life. That's nine-centered life is just
Mm-hmm.
go in your flow and it all aligns at the right time in the right way.
Totally. Yeah, thanks for asking. It's been quite a journey. Oh, and do
Yes,
you want to share the same? What's going on? What's happening in your world? Can I?
my
Come
world.
on.
Um, more and more of the same. Just plugging away at building my human design practice and trying to kind of integrate some of the other offerings that I do with the plant medicine and just kind of get more uh, uh, the Peter package how I can expand how I present all the things that I can do and all the ways that I can support. So I'm
Mhm.
I'm, I'm currently restructuring the way I'm going to be teaching my classes, starting to create a lot of my own classes, um,
Mhm.
my own study groups, uh, focusing a little bit more on one-on-one mentoring.
Mhm.
Um, Also, would really like to, kind of my dream is to do more retreats,
Mhm.
some human design. I already do plant medicine retreats. I'd like to do more crossover with that because uh, it's yeah, I think I've been with groups, human design groups, and it's an amazing frequency. And being in the plant medicine groups where there's an amazing frequency, I kind of want to merge that. And also, something I really want to get into in the coming years is helping people to unplug and from technology and all the distractions.
Mhm.
I'm fortunate enough to have a piece of land in the mountains that's very peaceful and very secluded and private. And the nature there is, I'm not just exaggerating, but there's some magical shit going on up there. So glowworms being one of them, which we don't have glowworms in Colorado, and they showed up on our land. So, that's just
Mhm.
one example. We got glowworms. Um,
Yeah.
but it's an amazing place to come and turn off your phone and unplug, and that's kind of what I try to do every weekend
Mhm.
as much as I can is just unplug and reset. And I think we need more of that. I think we're going to need more of that, and we're going to be seeing more, mental disease, mental conditions of and
Mhm.
anxiety and all the stuff of being so plugged in and all the business and work and I mean, I'm into that too, but I also need to stop, need to unplug. We all need that, and um, and I think it's a good time to retrain ourselves um, to sink into beingness and learn how to be sink into beingness. And so that's my message as a sleeping phoenix is to you know,
Nice.
how to meet this coming time and not be broadsided by some of these changes is to start practicing unplugging now and like we said, I mean, there is a real uh, there's a hidden blessing, I guess you could say, in being nine-centered beings still in a seven-centered world where we have these structures to here we are talking from Colorado to Portugal in real
Mhm.
time. It's like let's take advantage of these things while we have them and studying human design and learning how to be ourselves and get in touch with our own authority. So when things do change in the coming, when the background frequency changes, we're empowered and have the tools and not just get broadsided by
Mhm.
these changes. So
Beautiful.
yeah.
That's awesome. I'm so glad you do the work that you do, Peter. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hmm. Amazing. Yeah, it's that sleeping phoenix frequency coming through. So beautiful. And yeah, oof, forward thinking, forward feeling, rather, something
Mhm.
really cool. Beautiful. Right.
Well, thank you so much, and thanks for everyone who stuck around and got to enjoy this conversation today. Um, yeah, I'll post information to go with this, and hopefully you've been impacted and mutated today. So, all
Yeah, thanks so
right.
much for having me. Thank you, thank you. And thank you, everyone. Mwah.
Okay, bye for now. Let's hit stop on the recording. See ya.